Moving forward with this, I make a motion to take public hearing number 22 regarding introductory local law number 20 of 2013 out of order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to take 22 out of order.
This is now before us. Ms. Clark.
Public hearing number 22, introductory local law number 20 of 2013, amending Chapter 85 entitled Zoning by amending Chapter 85-55.1 entitled Maximum Building Size to include driveway size restrictions and to amend Chapter 85-1 entitled Definitions, Word Usage, to include a definition of driveway. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 and no more than 20 days prior to this public hearing in one of the town's legal newspapers, and our office has received the signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision tonight, it's been deemed a secret type 2 action. And we do have a letter from the Suffolk County Planning Department. Dear Ms. Eddington, pursuant to the requirements of Section A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter of local determination, and there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either approval or disapproval. Very truly yours, Sarah Lansdale, Director of Planning, and Andrew Frayling, Chief Planner.
We have from our law office Beth Riley to briefly explain this introductory local law.
This code amendment will limit the amount of the front yard area which will be permitted to be used as a driveway. The code proposes to limit the driveway size to 35% of the primary front yard, or no greater than 24 feet in width, whichever is less restrictive. The proposal includes 2 exceptions. It permits existing driveways to be repaired and replaced for homeowners. It also excludes the flag portion of a flag lot, the 20-foot part that gets you up to the property, so that would not be included in the 35%. The code also proposes to put in a definition of driveway. Our code has never included a definition of driveway, and this will allow our code enforcement officials to have a better tool in which to enforce this code. The 24-foot width represents the width of a 2-car garage or driveway, so that 2 cars could park adjacent to each other. And the 35% number came from an examination by our chief building inspector of various parcels within the town. He looked at surveys and determined that this percentage would be most appropriate and would work with the various size lots and setbacks within the code. The goal of the code is to preserve our residential communities and to prevent front yards from becoming parking lots and completely paved.
Thank you very much. And we have some speakers on this.
Can I ask Beth a question?
Yes.
Just to clarify, Beth, this means, the exception means that if somebody has a driveway that is currently greater than 24 feet in width, that existing driveway would be permitted under this code. Is that correct? Am I reading this right?
Yes, if it's existing,
Okay.
you may continue to have it.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any way, it's good that Councilwoman Kemper caught that part. Is there any way that, those who have illegally done this, kind of paved their whole front yard and it's pre-existing, if there's no approval from the building department, there's no approval from the town, why couldn't we also go after those?
We don't currently have a prohibition or a definition of driveway or any limitation on the size of a driveway.
So, but what I'm trying to get at is just because someone paved it over doesn't mean why can't we now, if we say you can't do that, there's often codes that we put in place and then to protect the community, and then therefore from that point forward people have to abide by them. I'm just a little maybe the law department could look at this a little more carefully, because clearly there's obviously issues where people have already done this, and the question is it would be good to be able to get at those as well if there's any way to doing that.
Okay, we can look into that for you.
Thank you.
This is one more attempt, at least from my perspective, to try to tighten the code. As Beth Riley explained, we have no definition of driveways. That's why some people were able to pave their front lawn and make it a parking lot. because there wasn't sufficient on-street parking for their tenants. This code, once adopted, will give us a law that will be able to prevent this from happening again in the future. And we do have some speakers. Ms. Clark.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, we have two speakers, Bruce Sander and Theodore DeBowie. Okay, Mr. DeBowie, Mr. Sander, you were sworn in. Mr. DeBowie, could you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
So help me God.
Okay, please state your name into the microphone before you speak.
Theodore DeBowie, and I live in Stony Brook. I read this particular section. I'm very happy to see it pass, I hope. But one additional thing occurred to me because I happen to have a corner lot. And that is, as it reads, you can't pave over more than 35% of the front lawn. But it doesn't say anything about the side. And under those circumstances, I can see some of these people buying corner houses and will have a paved over side.
Let me have the town attorney address that.
Hi, how are you? On a corner lot, you're considered to have 2 front yards, so
Okay.
it would apply. But thank
Okay.
you.
Fine.
Thank you very much again. The inclusion of the driveway size is important to refining the town code to eliminate those blatant abuses by those who wish to pave lines in their front lawns to be used as additional tenant parking for single-family residential neighborhood. And as we said is there a way that these people who have already violated and are in court on their houses and paved their front lawns already, that those particular people can be told, you know what, it's time to tear it up. They've already been in court. They will be proven guilty of all the other use violations. They're going to be proven guilty. We trust that. We know that that's going to happen. The fines are going to happen. But perhaps these people that have done it blatantly in our faces recently, we're not talking about somebody that did it 2 years ago. We're talking about these college boarding houses that are doing just that. Okay, we live in Stony Brook. We have witnessed firsthand how several landlords have opted to pave over the majority of their front lawns with additional parking. This destroys the aesthetic look of our neighborhoods and, again, reduces our property values. These homes were designed for single-family residents only, not college boarding houses. And the only thing, Ted stole my thunder, I was going to address as well, we're corner properties, okay? But you have clarified that the amount of yard space is considered 2 front yards, and that's acceptable. The Stony Brook homeowners, with great gratitude, wish to express their appreciation for these changes that are proposed tonight. And we are living proof that when a community works together, we can and will get things done that benefit the quality of life within our neighborhoods. Stony Brook concerned homeowners will not go away until this boarding house issue is resolved and return our neighborhoods to the intended design purpose of single-family homes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, and at this time, this is a type 2 accurate, right. Let's make a motion. I'll make a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I will make a motion at this point to adopt introductory local law number 20 of 2013, and I so move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This law is adopted. Next, I'd like to make a motion to take public hearing number 24 out of order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Take public.
What is that?
Public hearing, no, 24.
24 out of order.
That is now before us, and if you will let us know about the public hearing,
24?
okay? It's
Public hearing 24, introductory local law number 17 of 2013, amending Chapter 85 entitled Zoning by amending Chapters 85-432E entitled Penalties for Offenses to include site plan review and non-permitted uses in residential zones, and increase the maximum fines for violations of health, safety, and welfare violations. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10 and no more than 20 days prior to this public hearing in one of the town's legal newspapers, and our office has received the signed affidavit of publication from the newspaper. Should the board render a decision tonight, it's been deemed a secret type 2 action. And we do have a letter from Suffolk County Planning stating, "Dear Ms. Eddington, please, pursuant to the requirements of sections A14-14 to A14-25 of the Suffolk County Administrative Code, the above referenced application, which has been submitted to the Suffolk County Planning Commission, is considered to be a matter of local determination, and there is no apparent significant countywide or intercommunity impact. A decision of local determination should not be construed as either approval or disapproval. Very truly yours, Sarah Lansdale, Director of Planning, and Andrew Frayling, Chief Planner."
Thank you very much, and we have Beth Riley from our Law Department.
The proposal before you tonight is to increase the maximum fines for certain specific violations of the town zoning code. The code today has for first offenses $500 to $2,000. The proposal is to keep the $500 minimum, however, to increase it to a $4,000 maximum. The proposal also includes an increase in the maximum for the second offense from $1,000 to $3,000 as existing to $1,000 to $6,000. The codes that we are looking, the specific violations that this code seeks to add to our existing list of no building permits, no certificate of occupancy, illegal accessory apartment, parking prohibited on the front lawn, and unenclosed swimming pools, also adds the residential district violation of having uses that are not permitted within that zoning category.
Like, for example?
A boarding house in a single-family residential
you.
district.
Thank you very much, and we do have speakers on this hearing, I think.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, we have one speaker, Mr. Dan Galizio.
I think he
Oh,
left.
that's 24. That's 24.
Oh, okay, this
We have no speakers on this.
is 24. Right.
Never mind, Doug, it was a different hearing.
No.
Okay.
It's an incorrect hearing.
We have no speakers on this.
I think by acclamation, I think the community is in support of this, Mr. Supervisor.
I think so.
Can I just make a comment?
I'm going to make a motion
Actually, it's,
to close this public hearing.
I'll second
Can
it,
I
Mr.
make a
Supervisor.
comment?
Yeah, when we do the motion
Yeah.
to adopt, you can have the debate on it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay,
Okay, I think Kathy wants to make a comment, and then I also.
okay, let's get a motion so we can discuss it. I'll make a motion
Motion to approve.
to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh, well, no.
No,
On the motion.
Yeah,
We
one
have
speak.
first Kathleen Walsh and then Constance Kepic.
I'd like to speak in relation to Public Hearing 21, 22, and 24. Although the majority of the people here tonight have come out to support this are from the Stony Brook area, it has an effect tremendously on the area that I represent, being Center Reach, South Setauket, and Selden, because there are affordable homes in there, and the neighbors have had to just deal with this. So I just want to give my congratulations to the community for sticking together, for advocating for your quality of life. I know this has been a long time in coming, but we as the town board obviously have listened. Your councilman has listened, the supervisor has listened. I have listened to my community, and I'm glad to see these come to fruition and for us to be able to serve you and make the adoption of laws that make the quality of your lives better. So thank you all.
Okay, I want to echo Councilman Walsh's comments, and also, we have been working on housing violations throughout the town of Brookhaven,
here.
and certainly also in my district. And this will increase the fines for landlords that are taking advantage of the community and the people that live in their homes. So I am very, very supportive of this. I am actually a co-sponsor on it. So hopefully the entire board will vote to approve this.
And without any further ado, this motion is before us. Ms. Clerk?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This local law has been adopted. I would now like to take public hearing number 25, introductory local law number 18, out of order. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to take public hearing number 25 out of order.
This is before us now, and I will ask the clerk to do the reading.
Introductory local law number 18 of 2013, amending Chapter 82 entitled Neighborhood Preservation by amending Chapters 82-15 entitled Penalties for Offenses to increase maximum fines. Legal notices for public hearings are published no less than 10, no more than 20 days prior to this public hearing in one of the town's legal newspapers, and our office has received the signed affidavit of publication. Should the board render a decision, it's been deemed a secret type 2 action.
And we have Beth Riley from our law department to give a brief explanation of.
This proposed code amendment would make an amendment to the town's penalty section of our Neighborhood Preservation Code, Chapter 82. The existing fines in the code are $500 to $2,000 for a first offense. The proposal is to increase the maximum from a $500 to a $5,000 penalty. The fines for a second offense would be increased from a $1,000 to $3,000 maximum to a $1,000 to a $10,000 maximum. Examples of violations that are contained within our Neighborhood Preservation Code are our no rental permit statute, no smoke detectors in rental permits, and other maintenance issues contained within rental permits, such as yard maintenance.
Thank you very much. And the clerk does have some cards on this.
Mr. Bruce Sander and Sean Nuzzo. Mr. Nuzzo, would you kindly raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, state your name and where you're from into the microphone before you speak.
My name is Sean Nuzzo. I am the Vice President of the Civic Association of the Setaucus and Stony Brook. I'm an environmental design, policy, and planning student at Stony Brook University. Probably shouldn't say that so loud here. I may get jumped in the parking lot, or I may get shot. You know, it's kind of surprising. I'm a member of the American Planning Association, as well as a lead Green Associate. First off, I'd like to thank the supervisor and our local councilman for attending our recent civic meetings and addressing the concerns that residents have about the housing problems in our community. Needless to say, this issue has been the source of much contention at our meetings. It was only this past January that our civic group suggested an increase in the amount of fines for building code violations. Here we are, it's only April 23rd, and we're ready to put it to a vote. So I commend the supervisor for addressing our request in such a timely fashion. But tonight, this is the easy part. The hard work still lay in front of us. These new punishments and restrictions may be good ideas, and we should vote on them. We should vote in the affirmative on them. But they can only work if they're in conjunction with a larger plan that addresses our current lack of desirable housing options. Like Mark Rubio. We've been hearing a lot about unkept lawns and too many cars in the driveway, and these are all legitimate concerns. But of greater concern is the inability of Long Island to retain its young people. To be blunt, we're hemorrhaging our 25 to 44-year-old population, and there is no working plan in order to control this bleeding. Now, this isn't a problem exclusive to Brookhaven. This is a regional problem, but we should be on the forefront of helping to develop a solution. That 25 to 44 demographic is critical, as they typically represent the bulk of both the workforce and the tax base. Take my hamlet, for example. Stony Brook is a demographer's dream, as our population has been virtually unchanged in the past 20 years. In fact, the Stony Brook CDP, or census-designated place, has had a net gain of 14 people between the years 1990 and 2010. You heard that correctly. The Stony Brook CDP had a net gain of 14 people in a 20-year span. In 1990, there were 13,726. In 2010, there were 13,740. That's a population increase of 0.1% over a 20-year period. By comparison, New York State's population has increased 8% over that same time. Suffolk County, 13% increase. Town of Brookhaven, 19% increase from 1990 to 2010. Stony Brook, 0.1%. You might think, hey, that's a good thing, right? Doesn't that mean that Stony Brook is a stable community? But herein lies the problem. While the number of people remains constant, the age of the population is rapidly increasing, and the 25 to 44-year-olds are disappearing. In 1990, 25 to 44-year-olds made up 30.4% of Stony Brook's population. In 2010, that's down to just 21%. That's a 31% decrease in that key demographic in just 20 years. The East Setauket CDP has experienced the same problem with a decrease of 35% over the past 20 years. It's a similar scenario throughout all the rest of Brookhaven, and we have a graying population that is going to require the same, if not more, public services, and we are rapidly losing the demographic who traditionally pay for those services. To put it in the simplest terms, with no 25 to 44-year-olds equals a smaller workforce, equals a smaller tax base, which equals higher taxes for everyone who remains. There are many reasons why young people leave Long Island. Chief among them is a lack of desirable housing options. Brookhaven should be leading the fight in a great suburban retrofit to create walkable, pedestrian-oriented places for us to live and work. This is about having a variety of options, because in the end, isn't that what a true democracy is about? For the most part, if you want to live in Brookhaven, you are going to live in a single-family home on 1/3 of an acre, end of story. I feel that we'll be better served in the long run by encouraging desirable options for which there is a clear and present need. As we can see from this meeting, there's a clear and present need for different types of housing. We face serious challenges, and we're not going to be able to punish our way out of them. Let us not squander this moment and all this fantastic energy that we have here merely on reactionary punishment and scapegoating, but instead let us use this momentum to start planning, the planning that creates a better, more sustainable Brookhaven for all of our residents for generations to come. And I thank you for your time. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Please follow our town board. I believe some of our town board members will be bringing forward a resolution to amend our multifamily code, because I think that's essentially what you were talking about a mix of housing options. Not everyone, I think we understand not everyone can afford a single-family home these days. So we are looking at options, and some of the town board members will be discussing that. I think in the next meeting or two, that topic is going to come up for discussion.
Thank you.
We actually looked at an option, which was next generation housing. Unfortunately, that did not pass this town board. But we'll continue to look at that, particularly near train stations. We need the TODs, and we need those housing options both for our young people and for people like me, the baby boomers who no longer want to live in a single-family home. So you're very, very correct. We need that diversity of housing options. So thank you for saying it.
Again, this is probably the last time you'll hear me this evening, I promise. And if I repeat some of the things, I apologize. I'm getting older. I want to address that situation. I mean, honestly, we have over 100 of these boarding houses in our neighborhood. I have met many, many teachers. I'm a union president in my union. I'm in contact with over 40,000 teachers on Long Island who would love to move to our neighborhood. They've seen my home. They want to come out there. But the real estates are telling them, oh, don't go there. Those are college houses. The colleges are moving in those homes. We need to eliminate that stigma. We will eliminate that stigma, and we will bring our property values back where they belong through these laws and through these changes. I'm not going to reiterate what I've gone through with this thing. They've been buying up and converting over 100 illegal homes. This has been a blight in our neighborhoods. It has reduced our class sizes in our school district. 3 Village now is cutting teachers. If you take 100 homes at two children apiece, that's 8 elementary school teachers that are now gone because of those homes in our district. They have caused property values to decline well beyond the market change. Let's face it, would you want to live across the street from a transient student population who your children might encounter on their way home? This is not to say that the majority of these students, they are well-mannered. but there are always some who will test our limits. Prime example is the famous meth house mentioned earlier, or 150 Christian Avenue with its 20 or more tenants. Perhaps someone could explain how 150 Christian Avenue still exists. I understand they just got a C of O in January. How did this happen? If you have not seen this mess, just take a ride by. I did for the first time the other day, and I was appalled. How is this still allowed to exist in a beautiful single-family community? If you drive by this home, you need to take a ride if you haven't. The change in these fines is much needed, and it is our hope that the maximum fines are assessed to found all violate of the town codes to help deter these slumlords before they think about cutting up another house. It is our understanding that it is the law department who sets these fines, and we would like to see them recommend the maximum fines for all offenders. We would like to see the minimum fines raised as well in the near future. This is to make even the minimum fines detrimental to the violators of our laws. We support this change and hope the board votes in favor. And I wanted to make a few statements before I close on the response. I had an email from a Stony Brook student last night concerned about our meeting here tonight, and my response to him was this: this is not about the students or getting an inexpensive place to live while getting an education. It is about outside investors who have blatantly skirted the laws of our town for their own personal gain, not for the students. We would like nothing more than to see Stony Brook create affordable housing for all of its students. There are many homes who have and rent legal accessory apartments in our neighborhoods, and they are welcome there. It is the outside investor who doesn't care about the conditions of their homes or how the conditions of the homes they rent to those students are kept. Education is the key to our future. Mr. Romaine was an educator. I'm an educator. We will need to change things in the future, procedural and others tightening, creating laws to protect our communities. For tonight, this is a great start. We would like to see the whole house registration process mirror that of the accessory apartment, with all of its covenants, restrictions, including public hearings before they are issued. Expiration dates placed on the whole house registrations, published on the town website, and separate the whole house registration on the website from apartments as well. On the date of expiration of a whole house registration, the owner would be obligated to reapply under the new codes, and there should be no automatic renewal or grandfathering of an existing registration. Lastly, a stipulation of the whole house registration owners must agree to periodic inspections by the fire marshals or the law department investigators. This is to certify safety and compliance with our town codes. These are rented places. This is not the homeowner living there. They need to be able to get into this house to say, hey, that's a fire violation, that's dangerous. But they need to be able to access those properties. So when they sign off on this agreement, they will know that the law department or the fire marshals have the right to inspect their home at a moment's notice. We all know that the prime problem is the growing university with insufficient housing. We all know that. We know that the university is trying and making their grave attempt to fix this. However, we are recruiting international students overseas. We are creating commuter students every day that we do this. If there's not enough housing on the university and they cannot afford the meal plan, they're going to look off campus. These are students who don't even come here. A commuter student to me is somebody who drives from Smithtown to Stony Brook. It's not somebody who comes over from overseas. This is not an ethnic issue because they're coming from everywhere. And I want to make that perfectly clear. This is not an ethnic issue. These homes are owned by many different ethnic areas. But that being said, the university needs to do more, and we will be working with them. I'm meeting with them next week again for the second time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I will
I just want to make one comment. I want to thank the community for coming out, because the only way a democracy works is when the people make it work. So I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight and supporting your community where you are.
Thank you again.
Clearly, Mr. Supervisor, and I appreciate your focus on this. I appreciate that you pushed forward with these resolutions tonight. But as you heard some of the speakers, clearly this issue of raising the fines is to try to break that economic model, right? We know that this is a profit-making motive of those unscrupulous landlords that have done this to our community. But, you know, obviously, Ms. Supervisor, and I appreciate beyond these 4 pieces of legislation that you've sponsored, the work that you're doing, I know you are, within the building department, working more closely and carefully with the law department, because we know, like that, what was issued just a minute ago, that horrible house at 150 Christian, you know, we can't have the building department issuing a certificate of occupancy and the law department doing years of legal work and investigations to close that house. So I know with your support, Mr. Supervisor, we're going to be successful at this.
Well, you know, I shook things up a little bit.
Thank you.
Shook things up because that type of lack of communication cannot exist within a town government for us to be successful.